Hello and welcome to Waz Watch. This is the spoiler-filled edition of the Superman, or should I say Batman, because he's more important, first.
All right.
The Superman movie, Dawn of Justice. If you have not seen my review of the movie that is not spoiler-filled, feel free to check that out. The link is in the description below. If you have not seen the movie yet, turn this video off. Pause it, because we still want you to watch this, but pause it, go, drive to the movie theater, get your popcorn, wait in line, get a good seat. Probably you want to be about middle, back a little bit, not in the back row, but not in the front row, and then just watch the movie, then get a refill of popcorn before you leave, so then you can drive home and then watch this. So, pause. Alright, now that we're back, I'm assuming all of you have seen Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice, and we are going to break it down. It's a little bit different, as you can tell. I'm not alone. I also shaved off all my head, and it's very cold. I was feeling kind of Lex Luthor-y at the moment.
Oh,
but
spoiler.
But we already gave the warning, so we're good to go.
Right.
But this is my good friend Adam. He is a Superman fanatic. Must have been dropped or something as a child.
Okay.
But he loves Superman more than basically anybody that I know. And so I actually went to the IMAX and saw the movie with him. And so I just wanted him to have the opportunity to share his perspective. Because I like Superman, but I'm much more of a Batman fan. And so to make this fair and even, I wanted to make a Superman representative, a Batman representative. And so welcome to the show, Adam. Overall, what did you think of the movie?
It was great. I loved it, beginning to end. It had flaws, of course, just like any movie. But overall, about time that they got the two big titans together and fighting each other. Overall, I give it an A-. So I enjoyed it.
Awesome. Let's talk about some of the hot button issues. So let's just go down the lines and say, okay, Batman. Did you think that they did a good job with Batman?
I like Ben Affleck.
Mm-hmm.
I did. Was he the best? Maybe not. But he definitely did a good job. Filled the role.
Mm-hmm.
Filled the shoes.
Mm-hmm.
I give him A. Straight A.
Yeah, I thought that he did a really good job. I've seen a lot of posts where people are kind of unsure of his character, and the big thing that people would normally compare him to is Christian Bale, just because he did such a good job with the Dark Knight trilogy. But another thing you have to remember is that Christian Bale had 3 movies to kind of flesh out that character. I mean, Batman Begins was great, and I loved it, but at the same time, not everyone was saying Christian Bale, greatest Batman ever. After that, it kind of took that plus Dark Knight Rises to kind of say, wow, overall, great Bruce Wayne and Batman.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that this is a very good start, and with the Justice League movies coming out, I think that could be really good as well. And I'm also really interested to see him by himself.
Of course.
Just sort of like how Henry Cavill, I think, did a really good job in Man of Steel, and this movie as well, but giving Ben Affleck a chance to just play Batman and see if he can carry that without Wonder Woman and without Superman and all those sort of mixing pieces together, but just Batman. But overall, I think that he did really well. Now to your boy, Henry Cavill,
right.
Superman. What did you think?
They did him wrong in this movie. All kinds of emotions in that, from them saying that he killed all them people in that village in the desert. And what really got me was the Capitol scene.
Oh, the grandma's peach tea?
Oh.
First off, I loved that scene.
That was hilarious.
Well, because I loved it because I honestly, and maybe it was more obvious to some people, I did not see that coming at all. Not even a little tiny bit. I mean, I expected Superman to go in there and kind of get legally, politician-wise, his butt handed to him. Just because, I thought he was going to be interrogated and kind of almost be overwhelmed, where, because Superman, he's new to this. He kind of has this young innocence where he wants to do the right thing, but he's still trying to balance that out and figure out what that is.
Right.
And so I thought he was going to be like fed to the wolves, and that was going to be the thing. He was going to have to come to grips with the fact that there isn't always a clean answer. I'm going to be honest, I don't really like the old Superman films.
Oh.
Like with Christopher Reeve. Well, because the thing is, I just, like, they're good. They're good for their time, and they're fine.
Right.
But it was almost too clean. It was almost, which Superman is almost known for that. Like, he is the greatest representation of, like, good, conquering evil, and, like, the light over the darkness, and all that sort of stuff. But I really like how both Man of Steel and this movie kind of dive into that gray area. The fact that collateral damage and, okay, what is your responsibility and the balance of power. I loved how they did that. The whole, let's try to make him bad and like kind of turn the tide against him. And that is kind of the tipping point also for Batman being like, oh man, this fool done has messed it up. Just totally, like, and then that's when he, like, starts going all, like, Hulk mode and just, like, working out shirtless in his basement
right.
kind of thing. So, I really enjoyed that. I liked the fights. As I said in my spoiler-free review, I think my only problem with the fight was it kind of ended really briefly. Basically, Batman is about to do what we all know Batman can do, and he's about to take down Superman. Superman is lying there crying for his mama.
Okay. Alright.
Alright, but hey, so anyways, so Batman is about to, at least very brutally harm Superman. And I never realized this, but Batman and Superman's moms have the same name.
Yeah, I really didn't either.
It's literally like one of those, wow, that's either a not creative part on the creators of like the comics, or maybe this was just all a big setup to this movie. But I think that he says like Martha, and he's talking about Superman, is talking about his own mother that he has to save because that's why he's fighting Batman in the first place. It's because Lex Luthor has her captive. And Batman sort of freaks out and says, like, how do you know that name? Because he's thinking of his own mother. And that finally causes him to stop and say, oh, you're a person with a mom. And
I didn't like that part too much.
Yeah, and so it just seemed like that there were a million times in the fight itself, and Superman kind of tries to explain it before taking out Batman, but literally, I feel like Superman could have flown over and said, like, because he said stuff like, they have her and I have to do this, but he's sort of like, hey, my mother is kidnapped and Lex wants me to kill you, and if I don't, he will kill my mother. What do we do? Even though Batman was kind of in this fit of rage where he had all these traps set up and like was kind of, bent on killing Superman. Like, right. So I think that might have even clouded his judgment a little bit, but I just feel like there could have been some sort of conversation happening. They started with the whole Superman doesn't like Batman because of his vigilante justice. The fact that he's literally like branding people and killing people.
His cigarette lighter.
In this movie, we see him actually killing people, which I personally am okay with.
Murderer.
Well, but here's the deal. If you watch all the other Batman movies, like, besides Christopher Nolan's, besides that, he kills people. Mm-hmm. Or he at least attempts to kill people. And even in the Christopher Nolan one, like,
they weren't
if you cut back to those people, like, in, like, 15 minutes, they're dead. Like, he might, like, knock them out, but, like, he knocks them out by, like, throwing them off of a building. Yeah, exactly. Oh, but they're okay, because you didn't see, he doesn't, like, stab them, but it's sort of like, if Superman, like, punches you, like, you don't need to see them die, like, they're dead. Like, that's the end of it.
Like you punched through Batman?
Okay, well.
So for those of you who don't remember, it's part of the Nightmare sequence. So there's Batman trying to get his hands on the kryptonite, and it's just 2 green light bulbs powered by a battery. And that's when Batman goes crazy. And you see all the Superman soldiers and everything else, which is cool. kind of mirroring back to Sons of Batman, when Batman has his soldiers. So I thought there was a nice comic book reference there. The parademons were, wow, those were cool. Got that punch right to the back of his head, and Batman was out.
So a lot of people think that this is headed towards Injustice. The whole idea of Superman kind of going rogue, and kind of whether it's the death of Lois Lane or something. And you see a lot of times that even when Batman dies at the end, I don't need to say spoiler because y'all are here. He does it for Lois, kind of. Like, he kind of has this little monologue thing where he says, like, you are my reason that I need to save the world. And
you mean Superman? You said Batman.
So a lot of people are thinking that this is gonna kind of lean into with the Justice League, because you even see Flash coming back, which is really cool. And saying, I'm too early. But the whole idea of he was trying to warn Bruce Wayne that you were right about Superman, that Lois Lane is going
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
You just said him. You're right about him.
You're right about him. Which could mean a lot of things. That could mean Lex Luthor. That could mean... and he even says, I'm too early. So maybe Batman, being Batman, is super critical of someone else in the future. And so we see the Flash come out and say, you were right about him. Oh, I'm too early. Whoops. And then, like, go back. And so that was a teaser. And then we also have... that vision or that dream of Batman in the desert trying to get the kryptonite, and then Superman's like, you've been punked, and then like he kidnaps him and stuff and kills him. It's all just a vision, it's all just a dream, which there's like 3 of those in this thing. Do you think that they are going to go the route of, because obviously at the end Batman dies, which we'll talk about that in a second, but
who died?
Oh! At the end Superman dies. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. But we see dirt coming up, all that sort of stuff. So he'll be back, setting up for Justice League. And so do you think that something is going to happen where potentially Lois Lane dies, or something happens that kind of makes him snap and he almost becomes the bad guy and then has to be stopped?
I mean, maybe.
Would you like that as a Superman fan?
It'd be cool. It'd be cool to see. Honestly, you want to see more of the comic books coming onto the screen instead of someone just taking the characters from the comic books and then making their own spin on it. That'd be cool to see the Injustice. Now, the trailers, they were real deceptive as to how this went through.
Yes.
So maybe, they're doing the same thing in here where they're setting it up to be like, oh, people are going to think it's Superman. They're going to think it's someone else. When really it's someone totally, different, separate, that you won't find out till maybe the end of the Wonder Woman movie or Justice League when that comes out. So, it would be cool to see, but you never know.
Yeah.
You never know.
So, do you like how they're portraying Superman? Like, as far as you've seen him in 2 movies now, Man of Steel and this one. Besides the acting, besides like, the film itself, the character of Superman. Do you like this adaptation of Superman?
I do. It shows more, instead of jumping from Smallville right into, like the Christopher Reeves did, right into being Superman and saving people on the street. It's showing his gradual process, starting out, learning his powers and everything in Man of Steel, and now he's, learning that with every action, there's a consequence. And now he's just finding that out, and he's like, I never wanted this, and he says he did it for his dad. That's what his dad, had faith in him to do. And so he's struggling. He has that inner conflict. I do like that. Maybe sometimes they play it a little too hard. Like that scene where his dad was just in the mountains.
Yeah, what was that? Was that a vision? Was that like a dream? Like, his dad obviously is dead, so it can't really be. So that part kind of confused me, because he seemed surprised by it. He's like, Dad, what are you doing on the top of a mountain? Like, I thought I was only on the top of this mountain.
Piling rocks. Exactly.
And so maybe like that's something that will come out later. because we've seen like when he went to the Fortress of Solitude that he was able to see like his birth father, and that was because his memories were stored in the ships, all that sort of stuff. But that was sort of like, I'm like, is he dreaming? Is he just thinking of what my dad would say? And so that part was kind of weird. Were you okay with the fact that they killed him at the end? Did you like that? Did you not like that?
There's a couple tears were shed. Let's just say that.
But it was, so you thought they did a good enough job where there was some emotional punch to it.
Yes.
They didn't feel like, so as a Superman fan, because like I said, like I like Superman, I think he's cool, but it's not like, oh, my childhood just died. But for you, I know you love Superman, and so, you know, the death of Superman is a big part. I really like how they actually used Doomsday to do it, because Doomsday is one of my favorite guys, and I really liked how somebody's popular. Oh, I better mute mine too, even though no one ever talks to me. It wasn't Spider-Man 3 with Venom, where the last like 10 minutes, let's throw in one of the most iconic villains of all time. But Doomsday, you kind of see the evolution. That one trailer just gets me so mad, because I would have loved that to be a surprise.
Yeah.
I would have loved for, you know, you're creating it, and even while you're watching the movie, maybe it's slowly dawning, are they bringing in Doomsday? Like, that whole thing. But you knew Doomsday was going to be in it, so, like, when he's creating this thing in the pool, you know, oh, well, there's Doomsday.
Right.
And so you kind of know that that's happening. So the trailer actually kind of messed that one up a little bit for me.
Well, I did like it how they, you know, it didn't start off as the one in the trailer, and then it did get better, more, you know, bony. It started off like he looked like an orc.
Yeah, exactly. Which is what Doomsday does.
Right.
Is like the more that you beat him, he just evolves and changes to be even stronger until he defeats you.
Yeah, and they showed that, so I think they did a good job, good representation.
Yeah, and he was sort of like this mindless beast, which Doomsday is. Like, Doomsday isn't like a super smart, intelligent thing. He has one task, and that's to kill whatever he is pointed at. And so I thought that was really cool. From me, I love villains. Villains are one of my favorite, Doomsday being one of my favorites, because he is the guy who kills Superman. Sorry, but I'm really glad, because some people were sort of like, they feel like they rushed it. And not as far as this movie, but the whole fact of, we all know Superman's going to come back because Justice League and all that sort of stuff. And so, which is why I liked it, because you can kill him off and leave him dead for now, and then he will come back, because everyone knows he will come back.
Right.
You don't need to show him, like, I love just the, like, split second of dirt coming off the casket. Like, that's all you need.
Yep.
Like, you don't need, like, I was super terrified they were going to have him, like, punching through it and flying in the sun and being like, you can't kill me, fool!
It could have been cool. It could.
Oh, no, because then you know for a fact. Like, now, you're like, oh, he might come back. And we all know he is, but,
Right.
you know, that there's still that possibility and that potential that he's dead.
Right.
Even though he's not. But let's pretend. But some people think that they kind of pulled their ace out too quick, because the death of Superman's a big deal.
Yeah.
And so, are you afraid that in Justice League Part 1 and Part 2, and even maybe another Superman movie, that it will be less impactful? Because you can't kill him twice.
Right.
And, like, this is, like, an iconic comic book moment. So you can't kill him twice. So do you think that they almost used it too quick? They maybe should have saved the death of Superman for, like, the end of Justice League Part 1 and then have him come back in Part 2?
Right.
Or do you think that, okay, this is something good that kind of kicks off the Justice League?
Yeah, it was shocking, you know, and anyone who says they seen it coming, you did not. You did not see that coming in the movie.
I did not. Like, that was the thing, is I was, that, like I said, because that's a huge moment. Not just in the film, but just in the comic book lore.
Yep.
You see it a lot. They hinted to it a little bit, but the death of Robin, how he still has Robin's outfit in his kind of Batcave, you know, that's a huge moment.
Yeah, it was cool. You know, Doomsday, the way, like I said, the way he was set up, it was like when Lex Luthor in the comics, when he made Superboy or Bizarro, you know, it was, you know, Kryptonian, and then his blood.
Mhm.
So they gave a nice wink to that. Should they have done it so soon? I was thinking they would do, show Doomsday, they'd fight him, they'd defeat him, and Lex somehow upgraded him.
Yeah, so kind of like to throw him off into space,
Yeah.
that sort of thing, and then he comes back as like the Doomsday.
Yeah, and then the death of Superman. Did they pull it out, too early? We'll see where it goes from here. Like you said, you can't kill him twice.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see what happens. Do I think he'll come back eventually?
Mm-hmm.
I do. If not, it was good, but we also have Darkseid coming.
Well, and that's the thing is, as a villain fan, one of the reasons why I'm somewhat okay with it is the fact that yes, Doomsday is huge and the death of Superman is huge, but you still have so many. When you combine Wonder Woman, Batman, Flash, potentially like a Green Lantern, Aquaman, you have so many huge. Like Doomsday is huge. He is a grade A villain, but you have 5, 6, 7 other grade A villains that you can bring, and it won't feel like a downgrade. Avengers: Age of Ultron. I mean, I liked Ultron, and I thought he was really cool, and he's a good villain, but I felt like Loki and his whole alien army thing was a little bit better of a villain, and I kind of felt like Ultron was almost like either on par or a step back. Like when Thanos comes, like that's gonna just be flipping tables and like end of the world sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the thing with Superman and Batman. Like let's say that Justice League, they end up fighting Joker, who teams up with Brainiac, who teams up with know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that. Doomsday is awesome, but that will be even more awesome.
Oh yeah.
So I'm okay with them pulling that card kind of quick because they still have a full deck of cards to play with.
Yeah, definitely. And Brainiac, that was, it's never been shown, on cinema, and that would be a good cinema. We have new technology now and, animation where they can make that, great. Kryptonite was introduced. Used different colors.
Yeah.
Black, red Kryptonite, where he could go crazy. Even Lex Luthor. I enjoyed Lex Luthor in this movie. His little goofs and, his voice and stuff where it would go up and, you'd hear it crack a couple times when he'd say Senator. I can't do it right now. But, but other than that, I enjoyed him. Now, you got to remember that this isn't, the Lex Luthor we're all, it's his son.
True.
So, what I was looking for was, his war suit. The green one. I was like, maybe that's coming. And I'm like, well, it's his son, so will he have it?
And maybe I missed this, but I know that he mentioned like his dad used to like beat him or whatever, and so did they ever say like his dad died, how he died, anything along that? Because that was one thing I thought could be really interesting. Is let's say his dad, probably not very public eye, but maybe he's in an insane asylum or he's something like that, and so maybe we do see that where like the son goes and gets the father. And you know what I mean? And like his father's just as crazy about Superman and you know what I mean? So I feel like, and maybe he's just dead and that's just that. What was best part of the movie for you? Well, okay, you want to do best or worst first?
Let's do worst first.
Alright, what was the worst part of the movie for you?
Superman dying. No. I think for me it was when Wonder Woman got that email from Bruce, and it had all of the Justice League people. Yeah. Now, I don't know how you feel, but Lex Luthor named the Justice League. He made the symbols for them, as you see in the video, so he had the Wonder Woman, Cyborg, Aquaman, Flash. Ezra Miller, I was not too fond of his ponytail while he was in the convenience store.
Yeah, he kind of looked dirty. Yeah. Like he looked kind of weird, like greasy and I don't know, like we'll see kind of how it goes, but like I'm still a little bit curious to see how the Flash is going to turn.
Right. Cyborg looked pretty good, and they stuck with Silas Stone working on him, was that his son, like they did in the comics and the animated movies. We'll find out. They had the mother box there, which was pretty cool. Aquaman, he's got blonde hair now, but
no, he has blonde in the comics, and now...
Well, no, he's got blonde hair now. What's his name? Jason Momoa dyed his hair blonde.
Really?
Yep, there's a picture up, and he's got blonde in his hair now. Well, in this clip that they showed, well, you guys know, hopefully, it's all black.
Yeah.
So
that one was kind of weird. It was sort of like, oh, it's a submarine, and you just kind of see him like hiding, and he's like, all right, I gotta go, and then he kind of like takes off.
Yeah.
And so, I agree. That one was kind of a weird one, just because it felt like, for me, that they had finished filming, and then they said, oh, we really need to push Justice League a little bit more. And they had all their characters and the actors playing them.
Right.
And so they said, okay, just sit in front of a computer and we'll act like, oh, what's going on?
Right.
And like, know what I mean? And then we'll just kind of put in whatever, like a month before the movie actually comes out. My least favorite part was probably how quickly the fight ended. Because the fight itself was awesome.
Yeah, it was.
How I was even okay with how it started, the whole kidnapping and having to fight each other, but just how quickly it, like literally in the span of 5 minutes, it went from Batman training for months and studying and setting up traps to within like 5 minutes of real time, not even film time,
right.
Real time.
Yeah.
Him being BFFs and I will risk my life to help you now.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just wish that maybe it was. I almost would have preferred it like reversed, like Superman like sparing Batman and saying we need to work together.
Yeah.
I need you. Like so making that choice of I could easily kill you right now and go get what I want, but I need your help. What was your favorite part? Like what part was the best?
I did like the fights.
Mm-hmm.
It was it wasn't one sided.
Yep.
It was back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
One complaint I do have about the fights, though, is he got shot with the kryptonite gas.
Mm-hmm.
Superman did. Was it not that effective? Because, Batman got his beatings in.
Yeah.
But
eventually it wore off.
The Man of Steel did not bleed one time. Did you notice that?
Well, he cut him.
Well, I mean...
But while getting, like, punched in the face or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even, what was that movie? Superman Returns.
Mm-hmm.
He bled in that from, being around kryptonite. They'd
Mm-hmm.
kick him and he'd spit up blood,
Yeah.
And, I would have liked to see it, but then, like, because I seen it last night again, I'm like, he sure didn't bleed.
Yeah.
Maybe they just missed that, a slight oversight, or I don't know.
That is true. I feel like that would have had, because even when Superman was getting his punches in, like, the armor was like tore up, and you could see it was
great. That was a great.
It was physically affecting Batman.
Mm-hmm.
But besides the fact that he was getting hit and it was hurting him, there was no like repercussion. My favorite probably was the fights as well, whether it was the fight between them two or the Doomsday fight. Something that I saw that I really agree with was someone said they liked how at the end it showed them working as a team. Because a lot of times that drives me nuts in movies where, whether it's with bad guys fighting good guys or good guys fighting bad guys, where it's sort of like a mano-y-mano thing, and then when one guy falls and the next guy comes in, It's sort of like just all get him and you'll be fine. Mm-hmm. And so you had Wonder Woman with her lasso, like holding him down. You had Batman from afar shooting him with the kryptonite to weaken him, and then you had... Did I say Batman again? I said Batman, right?
I don't remember. I was
okay. Okay. They both end with man. Wonder Woman, lasso. Batman, gas. Superman, kryptonite, spear. Even though I really feel like, why didn't he give the spear to somebody else?
To who? Who would he give it to?
Wonder Woman or something?
No, Wonder Woman was holding him. Batman, he kept running away from the fight.
Okay, that was my one thing, was I'm sort of like, dude, like, you're holding something that can kill you. But then at the same time, I think that he might have been the only one strong enough to shove it in. Mm-hmm. And he also knew that Doomsday wasn't just gonna, it's not like a bullet to the brain or something where it's like, boom, you're done. Right. It's sort of like Doomsday was like fighting back, was able to stab him again, and that gives you the death of Superman. But I did like that aspect of it. The fact that, when Batman was fighting Superman, they were able to capitalize on each other's weaknesses. Mm-hmm. Like, Superman was able to capitalize on the fact that because Batman was wearing that armor, he was slower, and so he was just able to, like, throw him around like a rag doll. And then Batman had traps set up and knew kind of Superman's thinking. And then when they were fighting Doomsday, they all used their collective powers to fight Doomsday instead of, like, Batman fights him for a little bit, and then he gets knocked out, and then Wonder Woman fights him, and then finally Superman kind of like finishes it all.
Yeah,
they all work together. Overall, we really liked the movie. We both gave it an A-, and I am really looking forward to the next Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Aquaman, Cyborg, all of that together. I think they are going in a very good direction, and I'm just really excited and anxious to see kind of where these movies are going. So that is our spoiler-filled to the overflowing brim of so much. This is the longest thing ever.
I could go on still.
Oh yeah, and so feel free in the comments down below. Assume everyone has seen every part of this movie, last movie, whatever. Thank you so much for watching. And our question of the day is, what are you most looking forward to in this new universe, this new DC universe? What are you most looking forward to? Is it the Wonder Woman movie? Is it a Flash movie? Aquaman? Justice League? The flying dude with underwear. What are you most looking forward to? Let us know in the comments down below. As always, please like, share, and subscribe to these videos. We really do appreciate when you guys do that. Thank you so much to Adam for coming. And man, you are so strong. Do not pick a fight with this guy. But reference. Yes, so good. And so please feel free to share this video. Comment down below what you guys think, what you liked about the movie, what you hated about the movie. And we really enjoyed watching it and reviewing it. Thank you so much for watching.
Take care.
Perfect. Oh, it wasn't recording. Okay.
Oh, God.